It's Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for Magic and Martinis. Please welcome your host, Scott Wells.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Hello, and good evening, and welcome, everyone. Hey, Gene Protis is finally over here. Hey, Gino, good to see you, buddy. You're on Washington, D.C. You're not here in Houston. Well, you're over on East Coast time, living on East Coast time. Thanks again, Gino, for being here. Cheers to everybody. Let me just make sure this is okay. Perfect. I'll be enjoying my dinner a little bit later here. I'm not going to set that there because we had an accident a couple of weeks ago in which I completely ruined my keyboard when the Martini went into the keyboard and had to replace that, and not a problem. Okay, so anyhow, let's move on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I want to make sure that everybody is enjoying this and has joined in also by getting your badge. This way, if you wear that, so this way that you know that you are actually an official registrant for the Magic and Martinis virtual happy hour Thursday. And in case you're wondering about that, for those of you who are just getting in here kind of late to the party, we've been doing this for a while, and you can go to this location right over here. So if you would just go right over there, to tinyurl.com/m/M&M badge, it's Magic and Martini badge, and you'll get this download. That way you can put your name in it. And once you do, you can put your name into it like these guys have, like John Keever has, or like David Harbor. I had made one especially for him. Don Weiberg, my buddy, had printed one out for himself and actually had a computer generated. That's kind of cool. And Jerry Costello had put one in. Dan Sclair, I'm going to come back to him. I sent him one. There he is in his tiki bar. We had then also Robin Myers-Pierce and Ron Sitnick. See that they have downloaded theirs and put that in. And we have Harry Jacobson and Mark Rich who have them as well. And during this last week, we have Wayne Taylor and Clark Aldridge. Clark is the most recent one. I just sent one over to him, and when he did, he sent me back this. And so welcome, guys and gals. I'm glad that you are here to join us for that. And Al, the only, just passing through. See you soon. Yep, I'm going to see you in Colon at the Open Colon Golf Tournament coming up around the 1st of August. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be my first convention in over 18 months, probably the first one for most of us then as well. So anyhow, a lot of other, let's see what else. So I was saying, I talked about Dan Sclair, who was the guy right here, who also is the chairman of the Life membership. And I want to thank him. He has done something really phenomenal for me. He has sent me, as a friend of the Magic Word, he really, went a step beyond. He actually prepared and made this wand for me with these pictures with this cool emblem in the end of that. I know it's kind of hard to see, which is why then I took a photo of that, and you can see it right there. There it is. Thank you, Dan Sclair. I appreciate that. That is really cool, where he took my pictures, and then he's got these brass tips or copper tips that are on the edges of that. That was from Judge Brown's book. And then here's a little close-up you see at the end. I'm a life member of the SAM and the IBM as well. And so those are I think those are life membership badges that he put into the edges of each of those things on the end. So thank you, Dan. That was really cool. I appreciate that. And yes, that's true. Dan does wonderful work, Rich, as you say. Yes, he is. And so let's see, what was that you said over there? He does, Steve Mills. You haven't made your badge. Someday, yeah, hopefully before the end of the month. We may be starting to wrap this up as we get towards the end of July, and we might talk about that if we get a little chance then a little bit later. But yeah, Rich, for today, and wonderful work. That is really cool. So a lot of really neat stuff that he has done. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, if you would please just share this. Just kind of go over to your social media, hit this share, so this way that everybody knows that this is what you're supposed to do. I can't use my fingers very well right there, so there we go, kind of here. Make sure that you share this so that everyone else is watching this too, because it's going to be some fun here tonight. And let's see who else, just real quick. So Dan just said, it's just SAM, so it's not a life member thing at the end. That is just for the SAM. And so, yeah, Steve, please do go get that. And Sam Runyon, you'd like a badge? If you would, you can send an email then to me, and I'll be glad to prepare and send one to you. And I've got that information Where did I have that? If you would just send it over there, scottwellsmagic@gmail.com. And I will prepare one and mail that to you free of charge for being just a guest and for being a registrant. So be sure to do that. So that'll be great. And so listen, I've kind of BS'd a little bit over here. We need to start bringing some people in so this way they can join us then too. Let me get started then, first of all, with someone who is over on the West Coast then right now and has been really very busy. This little bit of a video will tell you a little bit about my first guest.
Just watching our next performer set up has me very intrigued.
Here he is.
This is my bubble wrap bike.
Here is our own Guillermo riding a bubble wrap bicycle. Guillermo, come on.
And there,
good. Man.
That guy is hot. Yes.
Yeah. Let's end it right there.
Yeah.
All downhill from here.
All downhill. Well, on your bicycle, maybe following that rap. Cheers to you, my friend, over there.
Stop. Cheers.
Okay, have a sip.
Yummy.
This is a drinking show, and I'm so pleased you told me you were actually drinking the right way with 3 blue cheese stuffed olives.
Yes. Also good almond stuffed olives, but blue cheese even better.
They're not bad. You know, I don't care so much for the jalapeno. Have you tried the jalapeno stuffed olives? They're not so.
Yeah, I don't like spicy drinks.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go. Okay, hey, let's bring on somebody else over here who's waiting in the wings.
You know, the most important thing I think about Warren Annabelle's is people come here to have fun. And my objective in every show, even after almost 6,000 shows, is to walk out and have fun.
You librarian, where'd you get $100?
As long as I feel like that I had fun and they had fun, then I feel like we've hit a home run.
Give me something right here and oh, hey!
I think one of the most exciting things that we've done here at Warren Annabelle's in the last few years is bringing featured performers.
I'm on stage with Dwayne, the Psychic Dove. I'm not sure what to do next. I've never gotten this far before.
When you see Dana Daniels, you know you're going to laugh.
Wow!
John Shryock is a great mix of 1, likability, and 2, great close-up magic. He's going to fool you badly, but Chris is as comfortable on stage as he is in his living room at home, and it is absolutely hilarious.
This is a regulation straitjacket from Camarillo State Mental Hospital in California. How many alumni do we have here today?
You don't see acts like this in Vegas.
So many people have come back to Warren and Annabelle's time and again. And each time they come, whether it's John or Chris or Dana or me on stage, they know they're going to have fun.
And there he is, and there they are. And Dana Daniels, hey, surprise guest, welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
Fantastic. So you, cheers to you guys. What are you having?
I have a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
Good
They
man.
have to work later.
You got to.
It's 2 o'clock here. It's 2 o'clock Hawaii time, and yeah,
That's
I
right.
just got up.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
start drinking till 3 at least.
Well, you don't want to fall out of your treehouse or anything, you
No.
know, not like that.
Not again.
That'd be a bad thing. It's like, oh, I better come back tomorrow. Yeah, after clean this up, this mess. And so, hey, we're going to bring on Charles Bach here a little bit later, but as he's actually, speaking of working, he's working right now, and after he gets off, we'll bring him on here shortly. But I'm glad, Dana, that you're here. I want to share something with you for just a second. I think you might enjoy, particularly Dana, and you can tell me if you recognize who this guy is. Just a second here. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on just a minute. I just need to go back just a second because I need to make sure the audio is going to be working with that. There we go. Okay, perfect. So this was from 1984. And you can tell that's the American Museum of Magic there in Marshall, Michigan. And there's Bob Lund. That was Obie O'Brien just walked by for a moment there. I got a question. Who is that guy?
My gosh.
Who is that, Dana?
That is Steve Keeler.
Steve Keeler. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that is Michael Weber right there, isn't it?
That's Michael Weber.
Yeah. And then who's that funny looking guy?
Oh my gosh, that's a very young Dana Daniels.
That was almost 30 freaking years ago, man.
Yeah, I think I was like 22 there.
Yeah. And is that Steven Sokolsky down there?
No, that is David Diebel.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
No, he's a kid.
And he's the same size now.
I was going to
Yeah,
say
right.
he still weighs the same. Yeah.
And that's John from
The juggling group.
yeah, what were they called? Air Jazz.
Air Jazz. That was them.
John Hurd or something. John something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Anyhow, I just thought that was kind of fun, and I thought you would enjoy seeing that video then too.
Yeah, that's we have a picture of all of us in front of the museum.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I've never seen that video before. That's how great.
You said
Yeah.
1982?
No, that's
84.
And
was
it
it
was
84?
not,
I thought it was 83.
Let me run.
Wait,
by this just a
it
second.
was in Colon, Michigan, or you said it was a different place in Michigan?
It was actually in Marshall, Michigan.
Yeah, well, the Mystics went out and performed at the Abbott's that summer, and then we did a little field trip to see the museum.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was August '84.
Oh, okay.
There we go. And so this was something that's on my Vimeo site that you can go and watch, which is kind of cool. It's about a 45-minute video that John and I, the juggler you were just talking about, had actually gone over there and spent some time at the museum. And Robert Lund had given us this tour of the place, and it's pretty cool from back then. And then also just a little bit of Abbott's of what was going on, then at the time. So now you guys were still part of the Mystics, I guess, back then. Is that right, Dana?
Yeah, we were still going nice and strong in 1984. That was my first time doing at Abbott's and all that. And the Mystics, through the years, have always they always had the Mystics come out and entertain, at the convention. And so it was my turn. That was the first time I ever got to go out there.
And then you've been back several times, I assume, since.
Yeah. Probably about 4 times.
So what about the rest of you guys? I assume that you guys have all worked at Abbott's, Eric?
I have done it, I think 3 times.
Okay. John?
I've done it twice.
Were you doing close-up one time and then stage the next?
Every time I did it, I did all. I did close-up stage and lectured. And then the last time we did that cruise ship thing with Fred Becker and the cruise guys. And you interviewed us as a cruise ship panel.
That's right.
Same questions tonight.
That's right.
When you did close up, did you get to perform close up in a gymnasium?
Yeah, it was close up for 200 people.
When you scream over the other acts? Yeah.
That is so funny. Yeah, because you're for these bleachers basically, and then you move to the next table for this group in the bleachers.
Yep.
It is a completely unique experience.
This is a blast. I would love to go to it this summer. I'm envious of you guys that get to go.
It's going to be off the hook crazy. I mean, I know that Lance Burton and his team, Fielding West and all those guys are going to be there. And let's see, who else? Gosh, my mind's going completely blank. So people are probably going to fill it in, but I know we're going to be having a great one. And I think he's expecting about 300 people, or no more than that, more like 600 people. I think might be attending. Because this will be the first big convention kind of out of the chute. Speaking out of the chute, so right now, Dana, you and John are working then over at the Annabelle and Lee's. And when did that actually?
Warren and Annabelle.
Sorry, Warren and Annabelle's. When did that open? Was it just like this last week, or has it been open for a couple of weeks?
It opened Monday night. Warren did the show Monday and Tuesday, and Dana and I did our first shows last night. We did 4 shows last night.
And was it pretty full, or how many people were in the audience?
Well, they have it restricted because they still have pretty strong COVID guidelines here.
Yeah.
So we had in each show 20 to 35 people or so, depending on.
So we were full. For the amount of people they allowed.
Yeah, it was sold out. It was sold out, but it wasn't full. So normally when we do the show here, there's a 90-seat theater, and I do an hour, and then Dana does an hour. And Annabelle, for those of you who don't know, Warren and Annabelle is an Irma-like ghost that plays the piano in a parlor. So the guests come in and watch Annabelle at the parlor, and have a drink or an appetizer, and then they come in the theater and watch a 2-hour show that's, like I said, me and then Dana. But because of COVID, we did it different. And for the first time last night, we turned Annabelle's parlor kind of into a comedy club type stage. And Dana did his show there, and I did my regular set in the theater. And so each group came in and saw one show or the other, and then swapped. And we did that for two different groups. So we did 4 shows last night, 4-hour-long shows each last night.
Back to back. I mean, very little break in between. It was challenge.
Tell me about your timing. One of the things is I was talking to Oscar Munoz and several other professionals, including myself, whenever we're starting to get back that first show or two, it's kind of like, I should have turned this way instead of that way, or I was supposed to pick this up first, or I forgot this line. Did you feel you were off by just a hair in the first getting back again?
Yeah, the first show I forgot to do some routines. I was totally out of that. You'd think, because Dana and I have been working here for 14 years. We've done a couple thousand shows here together, and you'd think after that many shows it'd be ingrained, and I was wrong.
Now, I've already been working different places, so I was already kind of in the groove already. But when I was first starting to get some live shows, I had to look at videotapes of my act just to remember.
You're working like Joe's Outhouse, or where have you been working? I mean,
whatever. Well, last August, when the pandemic was just a few months old, I worked Keller's Magic Club out in Erie. And so before I went there, I dug out the videotapes and just to remember all the lines and everything, and then plus Luigi had to watch the tapes too, so he knew what to do.
And he's probably hitting himself with his feathers. Oh my gosh, I forgot that.
Yeah. I always look at Luigi. I go, line. He's a pro. He remembers the act, so
he can poop on demand, huh?
Yes, I just go whenever I want.
Yeah. Well, I know then also that during this time of pandemic that we've all been doing a little bit different things, and one of the directions that you've been going over there, Eric, has been making tree houses and making a name for yourself and being on television and everything. Tell me a little bit about what the heck has been going on with you this last year.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along. But I'm going to be pissed if I'm more famous for tree houses than I was for magic, because I've been doing magic 25 years, tree houses a year tops. But yes, there was a lot of press. Long story short, or how much time we have? Long story long, pandemic hit and all the magicians started doing Zoom shows. But if you know me and computers, we do not get along. So I was not about to start doing a show for a computer
what John told me. John said that, hey, you're going to have some problem with it.
Yeah, I'm lucky this is working right now, and it could cut out at any moment.
And you said it was your 9-year-old son who was really helpful.
I will call Dimitri back in. He was the one who set me up for this interview, but after that, I'm screwed. So I was not about to do Zoom and didn't want to. My act doesn't lend itself well. And honestly, I was happy to take a break from magic. I didn't want it to be in this way, but I thought, okay, I'll do some handyman work around Burbank. So I started doing handyman work. I painted a bathroom. I put some lights in for some lady. I built a gate for a guy. And then I built my son a tree house, early pandemic, and took photos, put them on Facebook. And then his second grade teacher booked me to build her son a tree house. And she had a budget. So then, of course, I took photos of that one, put it on Facebook. And then somebody else in Burbank wanted a playhouse on the ground. So I built that, photos on Facebook. And all of a sudden, I had a new career. I'm extremely fortunate. I did not do anything other than put photos on Facebook. I spent $0 advertising. It just happened to work.
That kept you busy enough.
Yeah, and I've been doing it since last July. I've done over 30 of them.
Wow.
I finished my, 32, 33. I finished tomorrow, actually, one in Santa Monica. So it's been my career, whether I like it or not. And I've loved it. And I have gotten a lot of press. As far as how I've been doing it, when I was really nervous for that first one when my son's teacher was paying me to do it. So I was researching on YouTube, watching tons of people build tree houses, looking into hardware, looking into new tools, et cetera, et cetera. And I did quite a bit of research. And then at her house, I built it as best I could. And then I learned something. And then the next one I learned more. And the next one I learned more. So I'm kind of self-taught, but my dad taught me tools and woodworking when I was a kid. So I kind of have used that, but otherwise it's been just kind of luck meeting opportunity, I guess. And so it's been wonderful. And even though it's been a horrible year for everyone, it's been awesome building tree houses and doing something completely different. That said, pandemic is now hopefully light at the end of the tunnel. I am sore all the time. And I'm ready to do magic again. So tree houses, I'll continue doing tree houses on the side. But after I finish tomorrow, I'm taking a break for a little while, a few weeks, month. And I have some magic gigs coming up. And then I will come back to it later. But I'm tired.
This picture, this photo that was taken over here. Let's see, where is this second? Oh, this one. This just looks like something from HGTV. That just looks like, this is Mr. Treehouse Builder.
You might think I have a crew behind the camera, but that's me looking in the house to make sure no one's watching me, setting my phone on a brick and putting the timer on and taking a photo when I'm completely by myself, just for situations like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said, man, I own all these badass tools. I feel pretty healthy these days. I got knee pads and safety goggles. I got to look somewhat badass. Let me take a photo. So I did.
Yeah, that looked very cool. Well, you were talking about also getting to some notoriety on television. Looks like they were doing a shoot there on this one.
Yep. So a guy contacted me and he was a little vague. He just said, hey, we saw a tree house on a certain street and we want to use you as a consultant for a commercial. And that's how vague he was. And I wrote back and I said, I built that tree house, right? And he said, oh, yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm calling you. Your name was on it. So we want to hook you up to consult for this commercial for Cobalt Tools, which is not the kind of tools I use. But that was a 30-second commute from my house. It's right here in Burbank. We walk our dog by that house all the time. And John, side note, that's the Van Halen treehouse that I told you about.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
When Eddie Van Halen died, the people that own that house had an Eddie Van Halen memorial in their front yard for about a month. And I took a photo, sent it to John, and I said, I now know somebody who's a bigger Van Halen fan than John. So yeah, I built that treehouse last year, and then the commercial came along, and I was a rock star on that set. I mean, it was only about 30 people on set. But anytime any actor touched a tool, I had to go teach them how to use the tool. And anytime we were up in the treehouse making it look like we were building it on the spot, I had to say, let's use a bigger bolt there. Let's cut this here. So it was almost like I was assistant director. It was a really, really fun day. So,
wow.
And yeah, like I said, it's right in my neighborhood.
There was another one.
That's also in my neighborhood. 45-second commute.
Okay. So what about this one? This looks like this was a little bit more difficult. And I remember watching the video on this in which you had to climb up like about 50 flights of stairs or something every day.
Yes, that one was a hell of well, the commute was 20 minutes from my house. Chris Mitchell, who is a workhorse, helped me a lot with that one. And we were building on a hill, which is not as fun as it sounds. And from the car to the treehouse was a 45-second walk upstairs, which doesn't sound like that long until you have tons of trips with lumber and power tools. It was quite a walk from the car. But that one came out really good, and we were super happy with it. They wanted a bridge that went over the wall there. That one, yep. That one was also a really fun one. That dude, so here's a story with this one. Their neighbor paid for that. The reason is because the person who owns this house, the house that I was building it for, he cut down a bunch of trees for the neighbor to have a better view of the city. So they're on a hill, they overlook the city. So this guy cut down a bunch of major trees so his neighbor could have a view. Wow. And the neighbor said, I want to repay you. And I know a client, or I know a friend who just got a treehouse built by some guy. I'm going to get that guy to build you a treehouse. So the neighbor hired me. So I came in. Chris Mitchell also helped with this one. And yeah, we built the treehouse, but we were being paid by the neighbor, which means the owner of this house didn't give a crap. He just thought, okay, cool treehouse and it's free. So we just did whatever we wanted and built it however we wanted. And he was completely cool with it. That was a really nice one because it was shady and it was just Chris and me working and doing our kind of being creative together. So that was all 100% us. The others, a lot of people have their ideas of what they want to do with it. But that one was Chris and me just making it up.
Well, what about the architecture of that? Whenever you're trying to design that, do you have some sort of plans that you measure this?
Design plans? I'm not familiar with any of those words.
So it's like, hey, I think we'll do this. And so you get into it. Nope, but cut this shorter or longer. Oops,
I call it improvised building.
I've known Eric a long time, and his method is very simple. He gets an idea and then does it. I remember Eric calling me when he was like 16 years old saying, John, I got an idea. I'm gonna impale a rabbit on a carrot. And we would talk over little ideas, and a half hour later he'd call back, okay, I built it. Let me show it to you. Yeah,
that is correct.
I'm very happy to hear about your success with the tree houses, Eric. I must have misunderstood earlier in the year. I thought because of the pandemic you were living in a tree house.
Hey, I did not say I was not living in a tree house. We'll leave it at that. Oh. I built Dimitri's first for a reason.
You need to charge more for those tree houses then.
Yes. Well, I'm charging a lot, and yes, I agree. I need to charge more. I'm very impulsive. I've always been impulsive, and if I have an idea, I want it done yesterday. So with tree houses, I tell all my clients, I'm not an architect. I'm not a licensed contractor, and we need room for improvisation, and we need room for flexibility, and they're all okay with it because they like the story of the magician turning treehouse builder. But yes, I wing it and somehow it works.
Well, when you start to get back into the real world, are you planning on actually doing this kind of on the side still, or in around?
But I would like to fill my calendar with magic, so I can't.
Yeah.
No, it's been awesome. But I would need like a 2-week span to do it. I need, if I get home from a cruise ship and I fly in, I need a few days to recover and sit on my butt and then build a treehouse, then sit on my butt before I go back out to do magic. So I will try to do both, but I imagine scheduling it's going to be a little difficult. We will find out. My first magic gig is July 18th, and then I have some later July into August into September. So that's why I'm finishing in Santa Monica tomorrow, and then I will take a break, and we'll see. We'll see what the schedule allows in the future.
Harriet had just asked about building one in Chicago. Have you ever thought about traveling and going somewhere to build one?
But it gets really expensive for the client. I have to have a hotel and food and a flight, but all of my power tools will fit in my Magic Road cases. And yes, I've had a few inquiries from out of town. None of them have come through, but yeah, I'll go to Chicago. Yeah. I cost $30,000.
Who's your competitor? I mean, do you have competition for this kind of a thing?
Pete Nelson is the treehouse master. He has a show on Nat Geo or Animal Planet. He's up here, and then I'm down here somewhere. But his are $250,000 a piece. I've researched it, so there's quite a gap. So if you don't have 250 grand, I'm the guy. That's a good place to be in.
So it sounds like, and so there is obviously a career there, and if you get more people, if you get enough money, you can. Yeah, that really sounds interesting. So you've really made the best of this during this time then too. So it sounds like, again, you're going to be probably phasing this out as you really start to ramp up and do more shows then again. Do you see any change, all three of you guys, by the way, do you see any change as to how you will be doing something different from what you had done before we went into this pandemic? Or do you think it's going to be pretty much the same? We'll just pick it up. It's kind of like, okay, we blinked for 18 months or we slept. Now we're waking up and we're doing the same thing again. Or during that time, did you refine?
Let John and Dana field that, because they've already performed, let's call it post-pandemic, even though it is not post-pandemic, but they've been performing. Real quick, I will just say I have a lot of questions. I'm curious to know if it is the elephant in the room regarding people wanting to say, hey, wow, we survived, here we are, or if people just want to pick up where they left off and no mention of COVID, no mention of the pandemic. I, having not performed in quite a while, I don't know the answer. So I am curious to know what in my own act will change, what won't change. I know there's different policies on cruise ships with audience members on stage picking cards, etc. But what, John and Dana, what are you guys doing the same, and what are you guys doing differently?
Well, where I've been working, no change at all. And that's even private gigs, but the clubs I've been working here, and then there's some other ones I've been doing. I've been doing my act as normal, perfectly normal to the way I was.
Yeah, the show's the same, but we have restricted audiences, so
that's
a different feel. And what I found surprising is, like I said, in Hawaii, where we are, there's still a lot of restrictions and mask requirements, but no one wants to wear a mask in the audience. Everybody is completely open to doing the show the way we did it.
Yeah, and everybody's cool coming up, picking cards and doing stuff. And
yeah, I've seen no apprehension whatsoever. No.
And is there, Scott, not to take your interview from you, but
no, please. No, this is just a bar. We're just sitting around the virtual table here. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're not going to write new material with pandemic jokes or anything. But at the beginning of the show, is there any sort of moment where you all say, "Wow, here we are," or it's just like, "My name's John. Let's do some magic," and like nothing ever happened?
When I first started doing some gigs a few months back, I would say, "Isn't it great to be back?" And with live entertainment, and the audience would go nuts, or whatever. Sure. But I've cut that out since, and I make no mention of the pandemic or anything. I think
you didn't say anything last night during your shows, like the first show we've done here.
Nope.
Really? Yeah, nope. I said it in.
I think people want to just kind of like forget about it, and that's the vibe I get from the audience. So,
well, I said it because the audience all cheered because they were happy to be back. So it was.
Right.
I mean, I was grateful to be back performing, but it was
Well, stuff like that, but I don't do any pandemic jokes or nothing like that. I steer away from it. I think people are.
No, I don't want to do jokes. I just didn't know if it was an elephant in the room of any kind.
I felt the vibe I got from the audience was exactly what it was before. There was I didn't feel anybody in any hesitation as far as a contact issue or a pandemic type.
If people are going out for entertainment, believe me, they have no problem with it.
Sure.
I think if anyone has any hesitation or anything like that, they're probably not going out to live.
Well, and also everyone at our show flew 3,000 miles to be here, so they're on a plane for at least 5 hours.
Yeah,
right.
So
tell me about Hawaii. I thought they also were not allowing a lot of people to come in. It's kind of like Australia and a few other countries. I mean, there were some problems.
Hawaii is pretty packed. Their tourism is crazy. We stay at there's a kind of a condo place that we always stay at. We get each of our own little apartments that we've always had, and they were totally unavailable. In fact, the whole island was unavailable you can't find a place to stay.
Yeah, right now we're living in a tree house.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. I didn't
with
build
Luigi.
it.
Luigi's gonna love it.
No, the owners, Warren and Lisa's Warren's wife, they had to find friends to give us places to stay. So we're staying in new gigs, and rental cars are impossible to get. So we're borrowing cars from friends of Warren and Lisa's, and
so hotels are booked solid.
Hotels are booked solid, exactly. So the island is pretty crazy busy.
I've heard that the cruise ships are also busy. They're packed for like 10 months. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I've heard that cruise ships are starting to get booked up. Last week we had Fred and Bobby Becker, and Greg Gleason, and I had also been keeping my finger on the pulse and realized and heard they are booked up in a lot of cruise ships now for the next year. Everybody's anxious to get back.
Awesome.
That's good news.
It's interesting when Charles joins us, because he just opened his show at the beginning of the month in Myrtle Beach, and he's been killing it. He says that he's doing really good numbers and no COVID restrictions at all. Everybody's just having a blast.
Well, probably not the term to use during COVID is killing it. But
that's right.
Anyhow, so while you got this, we talked yesterday there, John. Can you kind of take the camera out and show us a little bit around? Yeah. Let's take a picture there.
So right now, Dana and I are in our office. I'm behind my desk. Dana's usually on.
You can show us out the window first of all what you're seeing.
Okay. Yeah. Here's our view. I don't want to brag. That's the Pacific Ocean. That's the Lanai right across the way there. So at nighttime, right before we go on, we get to watch the sunset over that island.
How beautiful is that?
It is gorgeous. Yeah. I'm not bragging. I'm just lucky.
Tell them the fact, yeah.
So here we go. There's kind of our office. We each have our own cabinets with dressing rooms and stuff. And head down the hallway. Now this is where we go backstage to do the show, but I'm going to take you around through. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Can you turn on the lights? Dana's going to turn on the lights in the theater. So when the customers come in, this is Annabelle's parlor. And this is typically where everybody would sit and have drinks and stuff before the show. And there's the ghost piano. And you can see there's Dana's show set up for tonight. So Dana's performing right in front of the piano there. And we have 30, 40 people around the thing. And then after that, the guests go up these stairs. And
are they led by a host or something, or how do they know to go?
Well, yeah, now they are led by a host. And anyway, there's the stage. So 80, 90 people or so. There's 8 people that sit across the front.
Oh, that's smaller than Magic Island. And
we rock and sock them. Yeah, it's a great close-up show. It's a real fun. Yeah, I'm doing cups and balls and card tricks and stuff. So there you go.
Wow, nice rake theater there.
It's awesome. It's one of the. Wouldn't you say, Dana, this is one of the best rooms you've ever worked?
Yes.
As far as the way you get the crowd going,
yeah, the energy. Everyone that comes in here is just they're fired up to see a show, and so it's really difficult to have a bad show in this room.
I've had them.
I could pull it off.
It happens, but rarely. The audiences are just great.
It's interesting. It sounds like you are also having again back-to-back shows, a longer show. It's not like a 45-minute show. Is it an hour and a half, 2 hours? I mean, what's the whole experience when they come in and sit and have drinks and then watch the close-up and then go whatever?
Again, the normal experience is the guests come in and the guests can sit at in the parlor where I just showed you around the piano, and they listen to Annabelle play the piano and have drinks and cocktails. And then all 90 guests are escorted into the showroom, and we do a 2-hour show where I do an hour first, and then Dana does an hour. But the way we're doing it now, because of the restrictions of the amount of people that are allowed in the building, is 30 or so people go into the parlor, and 30 or so come into this room. We each do our show for those groups, and then those groups swap places. And we do the same show again.
And that's just for this week. Actually, next week.
Well, hopefully we're going back to regular on June 8th, because I think Hawaii is supposed to have restrictions to 75%. Hopefully,
July 8th.
That July 8th, correct? June 8th of 2022. Again, that's speculation. Hopefully, that's the way it's going to go.
So, a question Dan had asked of this is Maui. Where is this?
This is Maui. This is Lahaina, Maui. We're in the city of Lahaina on the island of Maui in Hawaii.
Okay. And there's another guy a little bit earlier. We were talking, rather when I showed the video, Chris, was it? Or somebody
Chris
who was.
Whitmore.
Okay. So is he like the other fourth person who wrote
and
tapes?
actually John George also. That video's kind of old. That was before John George kind of joined our team. Basically, I was working on a cruise ship sailing around the Hawaiian Islands quite a few years ago. I started in 2004, me and Mary doing our show on the ship, and I got to know Warren. We would stop in Lahaina, and I got to know Warren, and then Mary became pregnant with our first child, and she kind of stopped doing the cruise ships, and I kept doing them. And I would be here every Friday, and I'd come hang out with Warren. And I did a couple sets for him on the club. And it turned out a real good format for Warren when he was on break was to have two acts on the show. One be more of a sleight of hand guy, kind of me, and the other be someone like Dana, who's just hilariously funny. Yeah.
He's right there next to you. What else can you say?
Well, it's true. You guys know Dana's act.
Of course. I know.
So, that became like the fill-in for Warren when he was on break. It'd be I would do the first hour, and then Dana or Chris would do the second hour. And at that time, we were filling in maybe 2 months out of the year or something. And as time went on, Warren was taking more and more time off.
Yeah. And
then there was one time I couldn't do the opening hour. I was booked on a ship or something, and they brought in John George, who is he's a great act. And it turned out now that's the format. So when Warren's not in the room, it's typically John George or I do the first hour, and Dana or Chris does the second hour. And Warren is about done performing. I don't want to say he's done, but he's taking way more and more time off. So it's more likely to see one of us on the stage than Warren.
I mean, when I first started, I was here maybe 4 weeks a year. And now it's half the year.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so it's half the year. And so again, you were kind of, Dana, working with both guys.
Well, when I first started, I did the show solo. Warren worked all the time. He had Kerry Pollack would fill in
right
for Warren, and then Kerry went off to do some other things, and then I came in, and I was doing the whole 2 hours, which was a challenge.
Yeah, that's what you got to kind of realize when we say when we're filling in for when Warren does a show, he does a full 2 hour show twice a night.
Yeah,
by himself.
So I would just do my act, but talk really slow.
That's right.
Well, I don't want to give short shrift to
a bird.
a bird. It's a bird. I don't want to give short shrift to Kerry Pollack, because I understand he was really instrumental in helping to.
He helped really build this place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he's got his own places in Myrtle Beach, or
Hilton Head. It's
Hilton
a
Head.
great club.
I did one of his earlier clubs, but he has since moved, so I have not done the more recent club.
I've heard nothing but good things.
I did the most recent club, and it's really, he just knows how to put a club together. It's really beautiful.
Okay, so now it's about time. I think that we can show another video of someone else we want to bring in, and this will tell you something about this guy.
We are so deeply fooled.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Bach.
That is awesome. Charles Bach, welcome. I'm glad you made it, friend.
Charles, good to see you, man.
Now I'm humming that song for 3 days straight. Jeez Louise.
Earworms.
Yep.
Welcome. So you had a show. First of all, what are you drinking there, man?
Well, I had a water here, but I would really like what you're having, Scott.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's very tasty.
Eric and I, well, Eric just finished his. I'm sorry, I've got
I finished mine an hour ago, Scott.
I've got some more over here if you were just here with me.
Damn it.
And John and Dana were drinking water because they've got a show coming up. And you just finished then, Charles. Anyhow, thank you for joining us. Tell me something about Wonders Theater. This is just kind of an amazing place that you've got over there. So what about this? What have you been doing?
We're in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and this is the Wonders Theater. We actually are right in the heart of the most popular tourist destination in South Carolina. It's called Broadway at the Beach. And it's a lot of attractions. There's shows, there's restaurants, there's rides and all kinds of things here, shopping. And we are one of 2 theaters here, but we are the Wonders Theater, having 3 shows every single day, supporting live variety entertainment. We have 3 shows 7 days a week in this theater, 4, 7, and 9 p.m.
Wow. And so there are a couple of photos I wanted to show over here. Then first of all, this was, I guess, kind of the marquee out front, and then the theater itself. Facade. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's our entryway with all the shows you can see. We have a hypnosis show that's late night adult comedy, and that's happening right literally in 15 minutes right here on the stage. So I finished my show just now. They sweep the theater, and then the next crowd comes in for the next show. So it's like
holy cow!
It's like a theme park.
This is kind of what it looks like. Apparently, there must be a VIP sitting area up there.
That is our VIP booth. So we have a really special area, and tonight we had great VIPs. They get concession credit. They get concierge service brought up by one of our performers. A shout out from the stage, a little merchandise, and a really amazing view of the stage.
Yeah, and this is the stage from that view there as well.
How long is your show, Charles?
90 minutes.
Whoa! All right.
Wow, and you do big illusions
You designed and built that proscenium.
So that proscenium, my son had a 3D printer that he got for Christmas, and we designed it, and then made the 3D printing, and then had it CNC cut from that same design.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool!
And there's an Easter egg hidden there in the proscenium. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's an Easter egg there.
Is it my website? I hope it's my website.
It's a Treehouse website. Yes, that's exactly right.
Screw Treehouses. I want it to be my magic website. Is it the B at the top right?
Oh, you found it. Yes, and if you look in the top left, you'll see a
wait a minute there
and a C. Oh, clever.
Wait a minute.
What does the C and the B stand for?
I don't know.
What is that? Up in the top right, up over here.
Top right, you'll see a B, and the top left, you should see a C.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. So this was again. I know you've had a lot of press on your theater then too, and it looks like those are seats that are brought in, so you can kind of move them about.
So we have rows A through H on the floor, and I bought chairs from Ritz-Carlton Ballroom. So they're very nice, very comfortable, and classy, and they fit the room. But everything is brought into the space. We don't have fixed seating like bolted to the stage or bolted to the floor.
Right. Well, it seems like that you have you're doing this all yourself, and then late night having the Hip Act. We were just talking then with John and Dana Daniels about how they were kind of switching back and forth, and they do a long show there too. But is this all just you, or do you have other people that kind of come in? Do you have this as a variety, kind of like Chicago Magic Lounge, or is this just all Charles Bach's theater?
So it's all my theater, but I wanted to have other performers because my first season was 2019. 2020 obviously didn't happen for any of us, but in 2019 it was just me, and the theater was empty all day. And I looked at all these other attractions that people go to, and Ripley's Believe It or Not, and the aquarium, and they've got people coming in all day long. So I thought I'll bring in some other performers and their shows as well, and we can have 3 shows in the same theater.
I didn't get that call. Did you get that call, John?
No.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't have competition. You have a juggler and a hypnotist.
Yes, we've got a world record juggler, Niels Dunker, who many magicians know.
Oh, Niels is great.
He is incredibly talented. He broke his 9th world record on our stage a week and a half ago.
I was going to say, I thought he was in the Guinness World Book.
He is in the book, and he has 8 Guinness World Records, and he just broke number 9.
Sounds to me like he's really showing off. And he's 12 years old.
He's compensating for something there, obviously. Huh?
And he's really talented. And our comedy hypnotist is Steve Falcon from the Paris Hotel in Vegas. and he's naughty, but it's adult fun, and it's really a totally different market than what I would hit. So it allows us to provide something for an older or adult demographic, not just family audience.
And is that a late night show?
That is a late night show. It's at 9 p.m.
Okay, and
so not that late, but kind of late.
That's right. It's late for this town because everybody gets up and goes to the beach or pancakes.
You know, speaking of which, that was funny. Someone had just asked, by the way, I want to go back over there, John and Dana, about Atlanta's Pancake House, banana macadamia with coconut syrup. Is that still there? Does that ring a bell? Do you know what he's talking about?
I'm familiar with Atlanta's Pancake House. Have you heard of Atlanta's Pancake House?
No. I know you're thinking about
There's a place called Slappy Cakes that's pretty famous for pancakes. And my favorite pancakes is a gazebo. We're eating there tomorrow for the first time in a year and a half.
We are?
Yeah.
Send me a picture.
James Holmes says, hello there, Charles. James, I remember so many years
chop
ago.
liver, James? What the hell?
I remember I was at some magic convention many years ago, and James was showing Di Vernon his silk to cane, and Vernon was saying, "Oh, it's very good. I like that." You know, it was kind of cool that he'd come up with. It was an invention of his that he'd come up with. Anyhow, kind of got off the topic. So anyhow, Charles, so this is again in Myrtle Beach. Now, how far is that from Hilton Head, where Kerry has his club?
Kerry Pelicans. Kerry's about 4 hours south of us, and he actually came up during 2019 during 4th of July weekend, and he got to see the show that we did before. So we're pretty close to each other.
Nope. Sounds like you got a call coming in. Somebody wanted to get a ticket right now.
That's exactly what that was, actually. That is exactly what that was.
That's a good call.
Let's discuss that jacket, Charles.
Okay.
It's Pride Month, I know. So
it is.
There we go. So yeah, there was that was the one-handed vanishing cane to silk. That was it, James. Yep, I remember that. That was so very cool. So anyhow, you say you got another show or something in like about 10 minutes or so in the theater. What's happening there, Charles?
It's not me, but Steve just blew me a kiss. He's the comedy hypnotist, and he's really funny and a lot of fun. And there's some very naughty stuff that happens on the stage, but it definitely keeps you laughing.
Charles and I FaceTimed 2 nights ago, and he walked the camera out into the theater so I could watch 5 seconds of The Hypnotist. He said the word titties. It was hilarious.
He did too.
Can you walk the camera out and show us a little bit of the theater right now?
I think I can.
Yes, but he might be saying the word titties.
Well, I kind of hope he does.
We're presetting the house, so it's probably okay.
Okay, then I'll say the word titties.
Yes, you can. We're doing a sound check, so they haven't actually opened for guests, so I can definitely do it. Okay. 7, 8.
Open your eyes. You know, if you just take a minute to do that every time you get stressed out, it's going to improve your overall health. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
So it's a little dark bit at the beginning of this show, but that's kind of what it looks like.
I think everybody should know how much work you put into building that theater, Charles.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. I've been very good friends with Charles and Eric for a long time, and Charles worked on a cruise ship that sailed around the Hawaiian Islands, so we would get together every Sunday for quite a few years, and he was always working on ideas for what he was going to build this, and that what you saw, that theater he built from the ground up. It was a nightclub with a regular floor. So I know how much hard work went into it. It's unbelievably impressive.
Are you going to be able to actually travel from there and go do other shows and things while someone else fills in for you?
I'm taking 2 weeks off at the end of the season, and I'm bringing in other shows. I have an ABBA tribute show and a Billy Joel Elton John tribute show for those folks, and that gives me a little break. So come out and see that.
And
okay.
John or Scott, if you don't mind taking from John's question to Charles, I'm curious if when you were producing and getting all that stuff done early on, what was the one thing that you had not thought of that you went, oh, duh, you got to do this as a producer or this? You've thought about signage, you've thought about marketing, magic, pre-show music, other acts, etc. What's the one thing you did not think of?
You
Okay,
need to
that's
co-host
great.
my podcast with me, man. That's a good.
That is
question.
a great question. It is exactly true. But I did think of every detail that's related to it, and I had folders for everything. But I always would run into things. So producing is exactly like being in a batting cage, where the balls are shooting at you, and if you don't keep hitting them, they will knock you down. So that's what you do. Every time a problem comes in, or you don't know how to do something, you find the solution, and quickly, and then you just move on to the next thing. And that's what it is. It's like being in the batting cage.
I'm not good in batting cages, so that will be a problem.
And I'm terrible at hitting balls, but I can produce.
You guys are all really good at improvisational types of things. I mean, you Eric, at building things
yes,
and making
we are.
magic stuff. And John, you and Dana, of course, of working and doing things, reacting to the audiences, reacting to their reactions of what's happening. You have to be in the moment. You can't just have a script. And certainly everything that you're doing then, Charles, and building that and everything else you're doing, that's just amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks a lot.
I did Second City back in 2007, and they hammer the improvisation rule into your head, which is yes and, which you take what your scene partner gives to you and you add to it. If your scene partner hands you an invisible armadillo, you don't say, "This isn't an armadillo. What are you doing?" You say, "Oh, wow, thank you. Oh, his name is Jack. He's adorable." You take what they give you and you add to it. Well, then you read Tina Fey's book about how she got to produce 30 Rock after SNL. And somebody asked her, hey, can you produce a TV show? And she said no, or she said yes. And then she figured out how to do it. She didn't know how to do it already. So this improv of yes-anding is not just on stage. It's kind of a way of life. And not to steal the thunder from Charles, I certainly don't want to. But when somebody asked me if I could build a treehouse, I said yes, and then I figured out how to do it. So it has been my mantra for my entire life since 2007. But I know Charles is the same way, and John and Dana, and that's, on stage or off stage, you kind of just have to say yes and then figure it out if you need to. That's kind of the way we do it.
Yeah, Ted Danger had asked that same question to you other guys, whether Charles, you, Dana, or John have had any kind of other improv training like that Eric had.
Yeah,
Dana?
I used to take a lot of improv back years ago classes, and I always recommend not to just entertainers, but I recommend to anybody who does anything, take an improv class.
Yep.
I mean, it'll help you in all walks of life, just freeing up. Let you think quicker, and plus they're just a lot of fun to do.
Yep.
Good question. And I think that's important. A lot of times magicians have not actually taken those. Those are available, I would think, in your city somewhere, wherever. If you're
you can even find them for free. Or Hollywood. They're all over the place. I took mine, I think, on the Paramount lot. From this guy.
Community colleges, I think, have a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Whose Line Is It Anyway? The TV show was huge for making improv famous. But of course, Saturday Night Live and comedians have been doing it, long before that. But yeah, Dana's right. It is a life lesson. It is a way of life, and it does make things more fun. I have lots of friends who just yes and during conversations, whether it's texting or a phone conversation or face to face. If we're making a joke, they don't just go, "Oh, I don't get it." They add to the joke, and then you just pile on top, and it just is a more fun conversation. So I highly recommend it as well.
Yeah. And another thing I would recommend is to take Toastmasters just to learn how to speak.
Yeah.
Different kinds of things that you can do, which are organizations you can join, classes you can take, and there's certainly a lot of things online which you can do right now as well. So it's been great.
It's important to speak good.
Important to speak good.
I just saw Eric's McTreasy for
Yeah.
the first time just a moment ago.
Well, Charles, you missed it, but I was saying my 9-year-old had to help me with the technology for tonight's interview because I'm an idiot. So he set up the computer, and then I said screen name, and he said that's where you put your name, and I went, "Oh, okay." And then I typed. I said, "Oh, what should my middle name be?" And I said, "How about McBreezy?" Because it was just dumb. And he says, "No, McTreasy." I was like, "Oh, yeah, even better." So there you go.
Wow, he's a chip off the old block.
Yeah.
There he is. And I thought that was funny earlier when we were talking off screen before we began over here, Eric, where you said you didn't have anything for your olives over here as far as a pick. You didn't have any toothpicks. And I thought, there's a guy who works with wood all the time, and you certainly should have some splinters or something.
Toothpick.
Yeah, there's my dinner. Anyhow.
It's a healthy dinner of vegetables.
There you go. It's good for you. Listen, you guys have been great. Thank you very much. Charles, I'm glad that you were able to join us then over here for this kind of at the end as you finish your show and get another one who's going to be coming up, as we saw just in the theater there shortly. John, you and Dana, this is great. It was really a special treat, Dana, for you to jump in and join us here at the last minute as well, kind of as a surprise guest. I was wanting to have you on for a while anyhow, so I'm glad you were able to do that. So thanks a lot for
the party.
Yeah, this was great. And so if you want to hang around for just a few seconds afterwards, I'm going to take you guys out of the stream here for just a minute.
I'm not going anywhere for hours. I don't know how to log off.
Yeah, you don't know how to log off, I guess. So
I push that button.
All right. Yeah, hang on over there just a minute. I want to bring everybody else, but thanks again, Charles. Thank you, John. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Eric. And you guys are great. And I want to also thank Jamie Salinas. Jamie is the one who had suggested, when I was talking to him about some suggestions for some upcoming people some time ago. He said, here are three guys who are good friends. He said they'd be perfect together, and you guys are. I mean, you guys are such good friends. You know each other for so long. Yeah. So that was great. Plus, again, going back to Magic Island, we were all working there at different times. And so we've got a lot of good memories and everything. So, again, thanks again, guys. I'll take you out for here just a moment. And if you'll just hang on in the back room over there, we will get ready to grow it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Steve. Glad that you enjoyed the show then as well. And I want to remind everybody then, too, next week, we're going to be having some more special guests. And let's see, what was I going to show? Today, I had released a podcast with Eric Collery. Dr. Eric Collery is the curator of the Houdini artifacts, the ephemera, the bookcase. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of stuff that is in the collection at the University of Texas at the Ransom Center. And this is going to be something in which he's going to be talking about to the Order Willard group at the Texas Association of Magicians Convention, which is coming up the 1st of September. And I will be there, and I'll be bringing some people in on this. So I want to remind everybody, please, if you would, please, to just you can register for the convention at taom.org. And he's going to be giving that is Dr. Collery is going to be giving a tour of some of the things he's going to bring out. And that's a special thing that is only for a few people on a couple of days before on Thursday night. And that's already sold out. But he's going to be having another talk later for us at the convention. But taom.org, I would suggest, if you would, to go and check that out. So anyhow, that's kind of what's been going on. I want to also thank people who are friends of the Magic Word. I just had someone, by the way, who had just joined as a financial supporter. I want to thank those friends of the Magic Word. And that was a guy from Germany. We have people from all over the world who joined us, and they're responsible for this great background that I've got behind me then as well, because of their financial support that kind of keeps this podcast going and everything else that we've been doing for so many years. So we're coming up on 10 years at the end of August. And that is Uwe Sperlich, I believe, is the way, E-W-E, Uwe Sperlich, S-P-E-R-L-I-C-H, Sperlich, Germany. I think that's the way you pronounce it. I don't speak German, but I think that's right. Thank you, Uwe, for becoming a friend of the Magic Word. And thank you for others who come back week to week to listen to those. Thank you guys very much also for coming in to listen to this podcast. We're going to be doing this probably through the, for sure through the end of July. I have a lot of people coming up. You notice Sean Farquhar was in here. He's going to be one of the guests coming up in future weeks as well. We have some other people coming up that I know you're going to be enjoying. I've already got the full schedule. We're pretty much packed for the end of the month. And because at the end of the month, I'm going to be taking off, getting ready to go to Cullen for the Abbott's get together, and then after that, the collectors in Vegas, and one thing after another. And so things are going to keep me away from trying to do this, and it's getting more difficult, as you can see, of trying to get people together, because like where Charles had a show and other people are having back in the real world, so it's hard to try to get everybody to get together for these things. So it's going to be more difficult, and so I think by the end of July, I'm going to be starting to wrap this up. And speaking of wrapping up, I think now is a good time for me to do that. And I want to thank again all of you guys very much for coming in and joining us. And if I can find the right thing over there, I think we can. Let's see, where is this? Oh boy, I've just. You'd think I would do, after a couple of weeks, I would know how to do this and where it is. Just a second. And I am going to, where is my, I'm sorry. Oh, it's, oh, right there. Sorry, I've got it. The problem is, when you watch Franz Ferrari's show, he's got John Pullum, who is always kind of working in the back room, pulling the curtain and pushing the buttons and everything, and while Franz talks, well, I've got to do a little bit of everything. But anyhow, this is going to wrap it up. Thank you guys again very much. I appreciate it. So if you just kind of stick around, watch the last few seconds over here of this, and until next week, this is please go and join us, and if you would please to like our Facebook page, and also to like our YouTube channel at Texas Magician. Until next week, this is Scotty out.